Okay, so for today, it's going to be an interesting discussion. And I think for some of you, it'll be refreshing, for some controversial, for some they will find it annoying. I don't think we want to accept some of the implication of this presentation, so we'll see. Let me just, I don't know what, sometimes Zoom is not either my computer or Zoom is kind of resized itself quite large. So you've seen this picture, you've seen my email, and I'm talking about the birth lottery. I don't know what it means to some of you. Does it make sense? Is it difficult to comprehend? Let me just get some input from you and see what we have to say. So let me ask someone, I don't know, in front of me, very few faces because my screen kind of expanded and I don't see except very few. I see Abrar. So what do you think, Abrar? Birth lottery, is that a real thing? Or did you experience it? Do you consider yourself lucky, unlucky? Where are we? Can you hear me? Yeah, Abrar, go ahead.
Yes, on a positive note, yes, obviously, I consider myself lucky to be born into whatever circumstances we're born into. And I think we have to make the best use of whatever we have been given.
Good. Okay. So you consider yourself lucky, which is good. Anybody on the call that thinks they didn't pick the right genes or whatever in their birth lottery and they're not so happy with it, and if they had a chance, they'd like to swap? You need to have courage to speak, not to just look and smile. I know you, I see with your faces you're reacting, but not vocally. So anybody would like to tell us what came to their mind? I see Rajendran, he's got a smile on his face, so I guess it means something to him. What do you think, Rajendran? What happened with your lottery? Are you a winner, loser? Would you like to switch?
Hi, guys. Good morning. I think I am a winner because my generation are the first way to educate and come back. So I feel like myself as unlucky, so that I can improve my next generations coming back out to move forward. So that's I feel lucky on my side.
Okay. Anybody willing to admit that they're not so lucky? And you'd have to speak because I really can't see you to guess this. My screen is just stretched so far, I can't really tell you whether I'm seeing you or not. So anybody consider that they were not so lucky or willing to admit it publicly?
Whereas probably I would like to say I thought I wasn't lucky, but that got changed over a period of a time because during my younger ages, I always used to think why I was not a bird. But they never had any responsibilities and, no schoolings, no college, no homework, nothing of that sort. We always, envy. I always used to envy about it. But later point in time, when we started understanding the nature and how they have to struggle in order to their survival on a daily basis, then those thought process got changed.
Okay, all right. Well, I mean, birds also have their own issues. Yes, they don't have to think, but they can get also gobbled up quite easily with a hawk in the sky or something going wrong. Or sometimes a strong wind can break their wing and then they have to crawl on the ground and it's not so much fun. All right, so we've all faced good or bad luck, etc. But we don't appreciate just how much important is winning this lottery is. So let me tell you, on my way back from Qatar, when I traveled, this picture, which I'll explain later, is what triggered this whole business of birth lottery. May not be clear, but this is sort of the bus that takes you to the terminal. And if you're traveling business or first class, you get a fancy bus, and This woman is, I think it was like a professor in one of the universities. They have a lot of prominent university, I think music professor, and got a helper. I guess her mobility is limited. So we'll come to see how and why is that prompted a discussion like this. So the first thing when you talk about birth lottery is a question that is quite controversial. Some people are very clear on it, one way or the other, some are not. So is free will true or an illusion? Who can speak on that? Do you think free will is something that we have, or is an illusion that we have it? And it's no good me just talking, and I see smiling faces and I see reaction on your faces, but you're not willing to tell me anything. Needs to be a two-way discussion. That's the kind of discussion you guys rate highest.
I think we do have a free will. We do.
Okay, please name yourself because I can't see you.
Mayar.
Okay.
Mayar.
So you believe you have a free will. That's good. So almost anything you decide is of your own free will, correct?
Yes. Even if it's something I don't like.
Even something you don't like. Anyone else think free will is true or an illusion?
As good morning, Natarajan here. It is true. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah. So because when we born, we got a lot of things around us. It's all free will, like the nature, the whatever the support we got it from the external sources. It's a free will for us.
All right. So let me say, I'm going to debunk this in the course of the next 20 minutes. And I know some people will hate me for that. Some people will like it. But most of you will need to think about it quite a bit to really get the deeper meaning. This is in some way quite a deep philosophical discussion, but it has business implication, and that's why I bring it up. It's not just to have some philosophical dialogue here. So if I show you this picture, you're choosing, let's say, a wife. It could be men, but in this case, that's the picture I could find on Google. And you decide, shall I marry option A or marry option B? Okay, this is a question for the men. We're not all that woke in the UAE, so we don't talk about the gender binary and all these things. We just keep it man-woman. If you were to point at A or to point at B, do you think you choose of your own free will? Come on, feel courageous to say, yes, I do. I like the blonde, I like dark hair, I like short hair, like whatever.
No third option?
No third option. I know what you have in mind. We don't.
No, not to marry at all, in fact.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought you need to be living in Canada if you want third options. We don't have it yet. So, this would be actually clear to you later that you think you are choosing, but it is not at all true. Your choices are predetermined as much as you'd like to think you have free will. Why did you go for the one with the jacket or one with the dark hair and the rest? You think you chose. We're going to see that that's not really a fact. I'm not saying these are gospel truth. That's my conviction. That's what I have been studying, and I have gone quite deeply into it. Let's look at really what determined these choices. When it comes to the human mind and how we grow up, are you all familiar with what we mean by nature and nurture? So nature is based on our DNA, based on our gene. That tells me what kind of a person you will be. Not all genes are activated, but mostly they dictate not only your size and height and color of your eyes and hair and so on, but a lot of things about you. Okay, so that is built into your genetic makeup. The other thing that influences how you are is your nurture rather. Nurture is the environment you grew in, the family that has taken care of you, the friends you've had, the schools you went to, how you were nurtured to be the kind of person you are. And you must have seen it. If you watch even relationship with your children, if a third person comes and look at you and your child or your son or daughter, the nurture side of it shows very clearly, even in the way they talk, their mannerism, etc., their behavior, their likes, dislikes, all of this comes up. Nurture also means, depending on the kind of family you are, whether they had music classes, whether they had maths classes, whether you took them to play football, etc. All this developed their personality. So the whole person, by the time you're a teenager, has evolved, and it's a combination of these two, plus a third factor. Do we know what the third factor is? Nature, nurture. And then somebody will say, no, it's my sheer effort, what I have done, what I have freely selected and focused on. And there is a sprinkling of luck. Nothing in the world happens without luck. So these are the factors. Luck is definitely there, nobody can deny it. Nature and nurture is there. Now that only leaves the sheer effort, your personal effort. And that's why we have a problem with free will. If I somehow debunk free will, then I am debunking your own personal sheer effort. And you think, wait a minute, I have worked very hard to be where I am. You're telling me free will is not part of it. Therefore, my focus, my diligence, my hard work counts for nothing. And that's what causes the controversy. So we will see whether I can defend that or not. So we have no problem with nature, nurture, and luck. But if you say I have a free will, where are you hiding? Who is this I that is having free will? Some of us think of I as some entity behind the eyes, inside the head, that control the whole show. But actually, nobody has ever been able to locate this I, whether in the mind, in the brain, in science. It's just a feeling that there is an I that controls the show, maybe from behind the arms. But actually, it has never been located. So that only leaves us with these three: nature, nurture, and luck. I'm not saying so far that there is no I. It's up to you whether you want to believe there is I or there isn't. But I will take you through some steps. So, if you think sheer effort, can you beat those? These are, I think, Kenyan runners. And you have to see them to believe just how fast they can run. Nobody can come close. So often when there is a marathon, let's say in London or whatever, where they really participate, they run at a pace nobody can do. So they're always competing with each other. And if you look at their physical makeup, it is designed by nature for chasing prey, maybe in the African savannah. So if you look at them, nobody can compete with that. And if you tell me sheer effort and me and free will, I say, okay, let's see you do that. This is nature. This is genes. You can do nothing about it. Can you try and compete with the LeBron James in basketball? If you are under 6 feet anyway, it's an impossibility. You know, even to be in basketball. But even if you were 7 feet, this person is so engineered for it. So again, nature, you cannot compete with that. So where is your free will here? You say, okay, wait a minute, free will, yes, but I need to have some of the instruments, some of the machinery to make it happen. Fair enough. But at least we say in some things in life, it's not possible. And you go back to your nature. Let's take nurture and nature and nurture. Anybody familiar with this guy? His name is Lydian. He's quite a prodigy and plays the pianos, and actually an amazing kid, 12 years old. Part of it is nature. It must be his brain, the way it's structured. And part of it, his parents must have supported him no end with lessons, with teachers, with encouragement, etc. And there he is. You think you can compete with that? No matter what you focus, it is not possible. When you graduate, let's say here I'm showing a happy family, their daughter has just graduated and they're so proud. They made sacrifices, they saved money, they gave it all, and they even some days went with meagerly dinners, whatever, if they supported fully, if they were poor. And now they are very proud she's graduated. All that support, all that encouragement, and they're a reasonably well-off family, eventually there is graduation. Some of it is she had the makeup to do it. A lot of it was their support and the lessons she got, etc. Let's take a garbage collector. He's born into a poor family. He's born into a poor country, possibly in this picture anyway, but it could be garbage collector in any country. What do you think? This person, one of these, I'm not talking about the one in a million or 10 million or 100 million who can change the course. What are the chances of this person or one of those being that graduate? So if you were born in the wrong family, the wrong country, the wrong environment, with the wrong upbringing, there is no chance on earth, no matter what you tell me about your free will, you will end up graduating. So this girl won the lottery. This guy, I'm not saying, I'm talking about the lottery of success. These guys could be very happy. And success doesn't equal happiness. We're just talking about success here. No chance of them. They will have a hard life. They get exploited, depending which country they are in. Sometimes they, they work on very low wages, the black market, all sorts. Would you be willing to switch with them and say, with my sheer effort, I'll fix it? I doubt very much anybody will switch with those people. So let me go back to my story here, and that was what prompted this, is on the bus, I saw this lady, and she is a professor of music, and this lady. What are the chances? She was born, I have a feeling she was Nepalese, but born in a poorish country, in a simple background, simple surrounding. What is her chance to become a music professor? No matter what she does or doesn't do, that is almost zero. Okay, so that tells you the world is structured in a way, depending on how the lottery you participated in will dictate whether you could scale new high. And I'm talking about to be one, not to be one in 100 million that somehow escapes their nature and nurture, but just average like us. So let's see what we take away from this. Why am I bringing all this up? So especially I'm talking about in a business environment, in offices, etc. How does that matter? All this discussion. First of all, as I've seen with some of you, be grateful that actually you won your own lottery. That lottery could be a big deal, you're a Bill Gates, or a small deal, but you are there, you're got a happy life, you've got friends, you're reasonably wealthy compared to a lot of people around you. So let's be grateful that that's the case. And when you realize everything I showed you, you realize the other person could be your colleague, it could be your direct report, to think they have pulled a different, if you like, ball out of the lottery pot, and they had a hard choice. They got maybe less, could be diligence, less IQ, less height, less color. Every aspect of the person affects how they will perform. And if you are appreciative of that, if you're sympathetic, you choose to be helpful. Humans like to punish, not to discipline. That's why we hate to think there is no free will. That means the criminal get away with it. No, you can still discipline, you can still imprison, but it's not a punishment. It is either trying to save society from the person or trying to help the person being disciplined to be on a better position or perform better. So same thing we do with our children. If your child has a cold, really bad cold, what do? Do you say, you're good for nothing, son, no, get on with it, go to school and shout at them? No, you're understanding. They take a day off school, you give them medication, you're kind of holding them back in the house, but there's no punishment. It's a kind of discipline. What about the grizzly bear? Even a grizzly bear could attack and harm a human. You do one or two things. You just say you shouldn't have gone near it. Grizzly bears, their nature is like that. It's your problem. Or if that grizzly bear is all over the place and harming people, you might shoot it. But it's not a punishment. You're just trying to eliminate. I know this happens quite a bit in Africa, sometimes in also India. If a tiger or something proving to be a man-eater, it's not like you punish them. You kill them because they've got accustomed to attacking humans. But there's no vindictiveness, there's no punishment there. But against each other, we tend to be quite vindictive and we want to cause harm. So let me ask you, if somebody reporting to you, or you're reporting to somebody, what would you do? Do you then think that this idiot, I don't know why I got them here, let me get rid of them, I'll see that they never get another job? No. If you understand nature and nurture and luck, you think this person landed in these circumstances, let me see what I can do. We do this in the company. Sometimes we help them change function, move from one department to another, from one job description to another, to see if that suits their nature and nurture. Change department, and if none works, help them move, give them a decent reference letter. And by the way, a good reference letter isn't to cheat the next employer. It's to say they prove to be really good in this area, and maybe to that company they'd be perfect. And I must say, most of the people who left us landed a decent job, and we maintained very healthy, friendly relationship with them. And that is somebody who either intuitively or actually overtly understand nature and nurture, and people are different. And just because the person isn't performing doesn't mean to say you can blame them and punish them and get angry at them. Now I'm going to do a little exercise before we close. So open your minds and your eyes, and I'm going to put a challenge to you. In no way I'm going to let you off the hook. I want you to respond. So before you're born, 24 hours, a genie comes to you and say, look, I don't know what will happen, but you have to pick a ball and you don't know if the ball you pick, what it will do. What the selection will be. So be careful as you pull an option. You could be black, you could be white. And you might say, wait a minute, you don't know yet whether black or white makes a difference, but you have to allow for that. You could be black or white. You could be born into a rich or poor family. You could be male or female. You could be disabled somehow. The growth wasn't total. Are you following with me? You're not born yet, but depending on the choice, the luck of the draw, you could be any of these things. Your IQ could be 70 or 170. I'm sure nobody is keen to have a 70, but also some people have a problem in life when they have a genius IQ. How about where you're born? If you're born in UAE, you've got all the amenities. If you're born in Afghanistan, especially a woman, then it's a hard life. And especially more recently, schooling, jobs, etc. So you have to think, where do I want, what will I choose? So we've done the IQ. Now, if all is there, all these possibilities, and I can think of many more, what kind of world would you design? Because now, depending on what I choose or the choice I get, I will end up in the world, and I would like the world to be kind to whatever comes to me, whether I'm retarded, whether I am rich, poor, etc. What would you design? What kind of world would you design so that wherever you land, the world is somewhat kind, somewhat accommodating, no matter what options land your way? Anybody can help me design a world that whatever happens to you is not such a bad choice in that world. Have I got any volunteers, or shall I select? Okay, Amr, you're on my screen. If you don't know what will you be, design a world for us that will be somewhat benign or kind to any one of these choices.
It's very difficult to answer this. One, of course, when you look at where we live as of now, that's the kind of world we would like to design with.
Okay, but we said that that is making the whole world the UAE. That's not, or are you talking about the Earth?
As of now, I'm talking about UAE Fayez.
Okay, so definitely we're saying it could be anywhere on the globe. You cannot say that my world is just the UAE. Can you see, if you were God, what a tough job it is? How do I make it so it's not so hard for, impossible even? Or if it is impossible, how does the whole world, the harmony works out? So before you get angry at your circumstances, somebody, somehow, call it the God, the universe, whatever you want to call it, has created a world that we can all fit in. And some of us have a good time of it. Some have a hard time, but they're actually become lessons for the rest of us. We watch them, watch their suffering, and learn from that. They may watch us, watch our success, learn from that. It's a tough one. And all I can say, when you have landed and you have been blessed, okay, with a good win in your lottery pick, look at the others, say, well, they didn't get it so easy. What can I do to make it a bit easier on them? How can I help? And that would be the God view. Okay, you've had it hard, let me do this. Now, some of you think UAE has got it good. Let me tell you, in the last 2,000 years, knowing the weather in the UAE, you have to think these people lived in really horrendous hot weather with barely a tent over their heads and maybe dates and some oases. So it's not like you can't look at Dubai today and say that's UAE. That is such a blink of an eye in the life of, the UAE. But the rest of their life, if you go back 1,000 years, can't have been all that fun. So we can't be now measuring it. You have to measure over a long period of time. I hope this has given you something to reflect on. And I feel to talk about free will, we probably need a 2-hour discussion to chit-chat and see where it is problematic for you. I would be quite interested sometimes sitting in the idea room and discussing that and see the pros and cons and what makes sense and how come. And so there's something we could maybe allocate some time to do, because once you settle that question, you solve a lot of issues. One of the saying that I think is an Indian saying, maybe Hindu, I don't know where it comes from, but when I say no free will and where are you, if you're the person in the head, who are you? There's a saying I like, is discussing the individual, the I in the head, is like discussing the future, listen to this, the future of the child of the barren woman. Do you get that? There is a meaning here. Barren woman cannot deliver children. So how can we discuss the future of the child of the barren woman? The child doesn't exist, can never exist. The woman is barren. So sometimes this saying really bring out truth that are not so easy to get, but once you get it, you think, we are discussing the free will of this entity that doesn't exist. And in reality, the world is made up of forces beyond our imagining, and we are part of it. Anyway, I hope this has given you something to think about. Enjoy the rest of your day and hopefully no more rain. Thank you, and I'll talk to you next time.